West of Dutch Harbor, northwestern.
We need to set here.
Have you ever wondered what tools modern fishermen use to catch fish? Technology has impacted every industry, including fishing. Every year, fishermen utilize advanced machinery to catch billions of fish. Rather than relying solely on traditional fishing tools like nets and rods, they now employ technologies such as sonar, GPS, and modern gear to aid in their catch. Japan, Chile, and China are the leading mackerel-producing countries, contributing 49% to the global mackerel supply. Japanese fishing and processing companies have developed enhanced fishing techniques for marine environments. These innovations meet buyer demands and open access to new markets. Fishermen use rapid freezing methods on ships to keep mackerel fresh. They primarily travel to southern waters, such as Papua New Guinea, to catch mackerel before returning to port. Each trip lasts around 3 to 4 weeks, with fishermen undertaking 8 to 9 trips per year. Mackerel fishing here is distinctive. It combines classic techniques, modern technology, and enormous nets. Japanese fishermen use advanced net types, like gill nets, in order to catch more mackerel. Early morning or late afternoon are the prime feeding times for mackerel, which fishermen leverage to optimize their catches. In addition to choosing optimal timing and methods, determining the fish location is equally crucial. Mackerel are found in both temperate and tropical waters, often near strong currents and coral reefs. Fishermen can observe schools of mackerel leaping to the water's surface, signaling active fishing grounds. Moreover, fishing success depends on skilled fishermen's experience. After casting the enormous net into the sea, they prepare to haul them in. The massive nets, filled with mackerel, are pulled onto the boat using machinery. During this process, fishermen carefully handle the fish to avoid damaging the meat. Once the mackerel are on board, workers transport them to the ship's storage area. All mackerel are kept in seawater until they reach the shore. Preservation techniques such as freezing or vacuum sealing help maintain the fish's freshness and quality for extended periods. This approach not only meets domestic consumption demands, but also opens opportunities up for export to international markets. Mackerel is a popular choice for sushi rolls, where it pairs with vegetables and special ingredients, creating an enjoyable culinary experience for diners. Chefs slice mackerel thinly to retain its fresh and crisp flavour. Mackerel dishes not only offer delicious flavours, but are also packed with nutrition. The United States, Russia, and Norway are renowned for their fleets of modern crab fishing vessels. The crab fishing industry thrives thanks to its rich fishing grounds such as the Bering Sea and the Barents Sea. A typical crab boat can carry between 150 to 300 traps, the most essential tool in catching sea crabs. Crab fishing in the Bering Sea requires strength and endurance. Additionally, fishermen must select the appropriate type of trap. Sea crab traps generally range in size from around 6 to 8 feet, with a height of around 2 to 3 feet. They are used to catch smaller crabs such as snow crabs. King crab traps can be upgraded with narrower openings and extra layers of mesh. The choice of trap size is crucial, helping to reduce sorting time and crab mortality rates. Additionally, the scent of bait tends to keep the crabs inside the traps. When the traps are submerged for short periods, smaller crabs within the traps are drawn by the scent and are reluctant to leave. Therefore, once the traps are hauled up, fishermen will sort the crabs to ensure that they meet the catch quota. If this is not done carefully, it can lead to illegal processing of undersized crabs and unnecessary mortality amongst smaller crabs. Snow crab fishing often takes place in harsh weather. Cold winds increase the mortality rate of snow crabs. This happens as their internal organs begin to freeze as the temperatures drop. Thus, modern traps that allow selective sizing at the seabed are the optimal method. The bait is typically made from herring or cod. Traps are dropped to an average depth of around 350 feet and may remain underwater for around a day or two. Crab pots can weigh nearly 800 pounds when they reach the surface. So how are they hauled back into the boat? Most fishermen use a hydraulic system to lift the traps up. On average, each boat catches around 300 crabs. It can take several days to locate and catch them. But when luck strikes, the boat's hold is filled with crab. Crabs must be kept alive from the moment they are caught until delivery, which can take up to a week or 10 days. Therefore, modern boats are typically designed with large crab tanks. Seawater is pumped in through a series of pipes to keep the crabs alive. Once the crabs leave the boat, they head to the processing plant. There they are killed, cooked, and then frozen. After being fully frozen, the crabs are packaged and shipped, ready to become a delicious part of your meal. Next, let's explore the shrimp from the nutrient-rich waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Shrimp have a sweet, robust flavour that is unmistakable compared to any other seafood. Bringing the sea's pure taste to shore is a hard journey for fishermen, supported by modern fishing tools. The design of a shrimp boat is highly intricate. From the outriggers on each side to the equipment used to keep the nets open underwater, every element plays a crucial role in the success of each trip. The structure of these nets is unique because they not only glide along the ocean floor to catch shrimp, but are also designed to protect other marine life in the same environment. Radar systems help fishermen detect shrimp, allowing them to concentrate their nets and maximize the harvest. During the season, fishermen typically catch around 500,000 pounds of shrimp. For smaller shrimp varieties, like pink shrimp, the trawling time usually does not exceed 2 hours. Dragging the net for too long could crush the pink shrimp and degrade their quality. Nets may be held on the water surface briefly to rinse off excess mud from the haul. On board, fishermen remove stones and debris from the pink shrimp, which are then thoroughly washed. Live shrimp must be kept in seawater at a cold, suitable temperature. Fishermen typically use shaved ice mixed with shrimp to ensure quick and complete cooling. The use of salt ice helps minimize unwanted oxidation in the shrimp meat. Before cooking or peeling, shrimp must be rinsed in water to remove any slime. Peeling can be done by hand or machine, either before or after cooking. If shrimp are peeled while raw, They are kept on ice for a few hours to make their shells easier to remove. Grouper is one of the most valuable fish species on the planet. Catching grouper is an exciting experience, offering many opportunities full of challenges. Fishermen can try their hand at grouper fishing in various locations around the world. Generally, any offshore area with shipwrecks and coral reefs will attract them. The best time to head out to sea is in the spring. Most grouper species spawn in winter, so spring is an ideal time to find large numbers of grouper actively feeding. The most common technique for grouper fishing is bottom fishing. After adding a sinker to the line, you drop the bait to the bottom, where the grouper will eagerly strike. As soon as the fish bites, fishermen hold the line firmly and reel it in as quickly as possible. But if the fish pulls back, they avoid reeling too lightly to prevent the line from breaking. Once the fish is out of the water, grouper are stored on the ship's ice hold. This step preserves the fish's freshness until it reaches the shore. For grouper fishing, fishermen must adhere to catch quotas and regional fishing regulations. After catching the fish, they measure its size, releasing undersized grouper back into the ocean. To increase their chances of success, fishermen use sonar to locate areas where grouper are likely to be. This method makes fishing much easier. Sonar sends the signals into the water and the sound waves bounce back when they hit an object. The remaining signal continues to the seabed and then reflects back to the boat. By observing sonar and reading charts, fishermen can determine the location of the grouper. Additionally, they can gauge the distance from the grouper from the surface and the seabed. In shallow waters around 20 feet deep, fishermen set the sonar to 180 kHz. This adjustment gives them a broader beam, allowing them to pick up grouper signals more efficiently. The waters around Indonesia are amazing. They are full of healthy fish and tiny squid. There are thousands of species of seafood that call this sea their home. This is also a place fishermen do not want to miss out on. Now let's watch how Indonesian fishermen catch millions of tons of seafood. Indonesia has the second longest coastline in the world. The underwater scenery here is breathtaking, as are the coral reefs, which are home to many of the world's largest varieties of lobster. The town of Pantai Geseng is located in the volatile south coast of central Java. Here, fishermen often focus on catching lobsters for around 3 months of the year. Of course, they still have to comply with some government quota regulations. Normally, fishermen are prohibited from catching lobsters lighter than 300 grams or with shells smaller than 8 centimeters. Lobsters are caught using a variety of fishing gear throughout the year. But in Indonesia, lobster fishermen mainly use specialized lobster nets or traps. This primitive fishing method is carried out on small boats. For fishermen in Pantai Geseng, catching lobster is very easy. They just need to go to the sea in the bay near their home and fish, and they only spend around $8 in fuel per trip. In this area, fishermen often set nets to catch lobsters. This is because the sea here is too deep to use traps. Lobsters caught in traps are often still alive, so fishermen only keep those that are larger than the limit. But lobsters caught in nets are often dead when pulled out. The number of lobsters caught in the net is not very many. Removing spiny lobsters from the net is rather difficult. Fishermen must be very skillful so that the lobster still has enough claws to sell at a high price. They also want to be gentle so that the net does not tear, because the catch depends a lot on the quality of the net. Lobsters are preserved in seawater to maintain freshness and meat quality. Most fishing boats prepare preservation equipment. This is an important step in deciding what price your lobsters will sell for. After catching, lobsters are put into mesh bags. They are then soaked in seawater again so that they are still alive and fresh when brought ashore. If the catch is high and the quality of lobsters are good, traders can buy them for $20 per kilogram. Indonesia is an important country in the global seafood industry, focusing on tuna and squid. The country's squid fishing and processing industry has seen significant growth, with 95,000 tons of squid caught in 2023. Squid come out to feed at night, so squid fishermen use bright lights to lure them to the surface. Green lights are especially effective when fishing. Indonesian squid fishing vessels often move in groups of 20 to 30 vessels. The squid in this area is surrounded by bright lights throughout the night. Traditional techniques are also one of the best for commercial fishing. Squid are caught using fishing lines equipped with jigs, usually seen on small vessels registered with 12 to 15 miles off the eastern coast of Medan. Some fishermen catch squid by pulling on a rope. This is one of the most popular techniques for catching them. Fishermen need to throw squid bait and then wait a few seconds until the bait touches the bottom. Then they pull the rope and raise the fishing line up and down. You can relax or stop for a few seconds to let the bait sink and then slowly jerk it back up. This technique makes the bait move continuously and attracts the squid. When hooked, the squid doesn't protest much, so there aren't many signs. But fishermen will feel the fishing line is a little heavier. Fishermen need to pull up the fishing line and reel it in gently. This is because sometimes the tentacles can escape the hooks if the fishermen reel too hard. Choosing the right bait is one of the important parts of squid fishing. Therefore, it is necessary to prepare bait according to colour and light reflection. Choosing the colour of squid bait can determine the success or failure of a squid fishing trip. In around 3 days at sea, you could catch around 300 kilograms of squid. Fishermen Bangka Belitung choose squid fishing because it's easy to catch them and they have a high selling value, bringing in more profit than other types of fishing. Indonesia's tuna catch is among the top in the world all year round, accounting for around 16% of the world's total tuna supply. In 2023, the country caught and produced 790,000 tons of tuna, worth around $1.7 billion. Yellowfin and skipjack tuna are by far the most popular targets. They are most common in Indonesia from May till October. Often fishermen will find large schools of tuna in deeper waters. During the spawning season, the abundant tuna resources in the Indian and Pacific Oceans will return to the Indonesian archipelago, where the sea level is shallower and richer in nutrients. This is an ideal environment for the growth and reproduction of tuna. At the same time, it is also the best time for tuna fishing and trading activities. Fishermen mainly use seine nets to catch. They will determine the current and wind direction through the movement of the boat. The net is usually placed diagonally across the water line. When all the nets and buoys are released into the sea, the fishermen have their initial success in catching. Buoys floating on the water create an enclosure. Below the sea surface is a super large trap. The tuna did not know that they were swimming in a fishing net. When the fishermen pull up the net, all the tuna will be brought on board. The tuna is pulled onto the ship using a crane and conveyor system. To ensure quality, tuna is stored immediately in cold storage to ensure the freshness of the meat. Fishermen have to go offshore for weeks looking for schools of tuna. They move very fast and can swim long distances, making casting and hauling nets very difficult. In addition, fishermen have to work in harsh conditions and must store tuna at very low temperatures to maintain quality. Fishing in Indonesia is not a hot spot, and it's not famous for its luxury vessels. But still, it creates adventure for fishermen. There's the excitement of chasing and catching giant marlin. Marlin are commonly found in coastal waters, from coral reefs to the edge of the continental shelf. These marlin are famous for their ability to swim fast, engage in fierce battles, and test even the sturdiest fishing rods. Therefore, marlin fishing has very little chance of success. They are also masters of escape. Fishermen must learn tricks to be able to save a lot of time and money on their trips. Every year, marlin migrate closer to shore, following the warm tropical waters south. During their migration, they will stop and feed where bait fish are abundant. And that's where fishermen focus their efforts in order to get the best fishing results. Marlin can be caught using a variety of fishing techniques, depending on the location. Ships in Indonesia often catch marlin using nets. When choosing a suitable location, fishermen will cast their nets. The net is soaking in the sea for around 4 to 6 hours. After a while, the fishermen will start pulling the net to check if they've caught something. If they are lucky, they will discover giant marlins. The weight of the marlin is really heavy, so each batch requires around 4 to 5 fishermen to pull the net up together. They coordinated well together to control and remove the marlin from the net. To be safe, the fishermen cut off its sharp tip. This is a weapon that can injure fishermen. After this, the fishermen will wash the fish and remove any excess dirt and debris in order to prepare for the preservation process. Some fishermen will be in charge of transferring the newly harvested marlin to the storage area. The process of transferring fish to the cellar is also quite difficult. First, the fisherman will tie down a rope to the fish's tail, and 2 people will pull the rope to bring the fish down to the ship's hold. Fishermen standing on the below deck will coordinate to reduce pressure. After sorting, the marlin is transferred to frozen storage for preservation until they reach shore.